Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel. Now today's video I'm here to give you 5 things which I believe we learned from the game against Watford where we won 3-0 at home. But before I do, please drop a like on today's video. Can we hit a like target of 115? We smashed the last like target of 100 likes. 115 likes, guys. It helps promote the videos. It's the only reason why I ask. It helps grow the channel as well. So please smash that like button. Drop a comment as well on what you believe you learned from the game against Watford. And also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We are trying to hit 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So, here are my 5 things which I believe we learned from the game against Watford. Number 1. The Old Luton is back, and what I mean by that is, for the first time this season, we have shown that we can do what we did previously, which was so successful, which was being aggressive, being front-footed, winning our battles, causing problems, putting in challenges, like being Luton. I think a lot of people know what I mean by all this, but I feel like for the first time in a while, and I have to admit it has been a while, even towards the back end of the Premier League when we just ran out of steam, we haven't quite been the same team that was on this day here where we beat Watford 2-0. In that game against Watford, in the 3-0 game, we matched this. And you can argue we did better because we scored an extra goal. That's the Luton, that's the real Luton for me. I understand what Edwards wants to do. I understand that he wants to be a bit braver, he wants to be a bit more attacking. And I feel like that's fine, but you've got to find the right balance. Why can't we do a bit of both? Why can't we go long at times? Why can't we play pretty football at times? I think it's really important to find the right balance because certain teams can handle certain approaches. Watford proved that they couldn't handle our aggressive approach, the bullying tactics. They couldn't handle it. However, could they have handled us being a little bit ball playing? Who knows? But the aggressive side of things they could not handle, and I feel like teams like Brentford in the Premier League do it extremely well. They can do a bit of both. They can go long and they can also play football, because we are going to come across against teams that will be able to handle our physical approach. Teams like Millwall, despite getting the win, teams like Millwall can handle that. Sheffield United in the past, when they beat us 3-1 at our place, they handled our aggressive approach. So we need to find the right balance between both. But what we did learn against Watford is we do have that dog in us. We do have that grit and that determination like we've seen in the past. And that's the Luton I want to keep seeing throughout the rest of this season. Because I feel like if we put those types of performances in against the teams we've got coming up against in the Championship, then there's no reason why we can't climb up that Championship table. So let's keep this up. Let's keep being the real Luton, not the Luton which I've seen in the games prior to the Watford one. I want to see the one that won 3-0. I know we're not going to be able to replicate it every single game, but getting close to it by 90%, 80% will get positive results. Number 2, I want to single him out because I do believe he deserves a lot of credit, and I think this will go amiss with a lot of fans, is Victor Moses. We all know what Victor Moses can do like attacking wise. We know his best qualities are further up the pitch. But what I felt I learned from the game against Watford was how good defensively he was. Now I thought as a right wing back for a team like Chelsea, it's totally different to playing as a right wing back for Luton, because at Chelsea you've got world class players behind you, all around you. So you're not like the main focal point. Whereas at Luton, he's probably a bit more of a focal point. He's probably one of our standouts in terms of what we want to produce going forward. So we rely on him a little bit more attacking wise. So he may not be able to do the defensive side of things with us. But today against Watford, when he had to, the amount of interceptions, the blocks, the recovery runs, the tackling, I thought he was outstanding. His work rate, determination, everything about his defensive side of his game against Watford, I thought was absolutely brilliant. And I thought it would go amiss with some fans because you know, what we know of Victor Moses is his attacking side of things, not quite his defensive side of things. And as we now have an injury crisis in defence, we might be seeing Victor Moses a lot more, especially playing as a right-sided wing-back. So look, if he can put in those performances and also offer stuff going forward, then fantastic. What a player we've got, especially on a free transfer. But wow, the defensive side of his game, I was extremely surprised. And another player which I do want to mention, and this is my third point, is ALFIE. Now, ALFIE for me has massively surprised me defensively since the start of this season. I've been able to see it a lot more. It was hard to see it in the Premier League last year, you have to admit. With the amount of goals we were conceding, you could argue that a lot of our players just defensively weren't performing very well. But wow, this season ALFIE has been brilliant. We all know what ALFIE can do going forward. We know he's one of our main focal points in terms of creating a lot of opportunities for us. The amount of crosses he puts into the box, the set pieces. But in the game against Watford, due to centre-halves getting injured, he had to move in that left-sided spot in the defence, in the back three. And I thought he'd done extremely well. He didn't look out of place at all, and he looked like a natural left-sided centre-back. Now, what's even more impressive was he was able to do a role which isn't his normal position, but also help and guide Joe Johnson at left wing-back. I saw him give him signs, tell him where he needs to go, and I thought it was outstanding to see. That's real captain material, that is, showing a bit of leadership there, and I think it was worth mentioning, worth talking about in today's video. I love seeing that, and it shows how much of a team we are as well, and we're able to help each other get out of these, you know, tough situations, because anything could have happened when we unfortunately lost Reece Burke through injury. Watford could have piled on the pressure, got a goal, and then all of a sudden the game's different. But no, they didn't get that goal due to players stepping up when we needed them to the most. And ALFIE was definitely one of those players that stepped up when we needed him. Talking about ALFIE, this is point number 4. Set pieces. Finally, we actually looked really dangerous from set pieces. I've mentioned in the last couple of videos that we've been very, very predictable from set pieces. Although we have created loads of opportunities from them, I felt like we haven't quite been the same like we were last season. But today, totally different story. Our set pieces caused Watford so many problems, and we scored directly from a corner in Morris at the back post, getting us our second goal. Set pieces can change a game, and they're so important. They're like your plan B. You need to be able to be good at set pieces, also scoring them, but also defending them as well. And I thought we were very good at defending them throughout of the game against Watford. And that brings me to the last point, the 5th point, defending. The defenders which we've got at this football club keep dropping like flies. And the one concern for me is who's going to start against Sunderland in defence. It's okay playing players out of position in defence for 20-30 minutes in a game, but when it's 90 minutes in a game, when it's multiple games in a row against very good sides, it's going to cause a lot of problems. Now, I don't want to come across like I'm attacking the medical staff here, but I am going to question it, because this is a 3rd injury crisis we've had at the football club in the last 4 years. In defence, only in defence. Injuries happen all over the squad, all over in the team. That's fine, I can accept that. But what you can't accept is another injury crisis. What keeps going on? Because you can tell. I listened to the interview after the game with Rob Edwards, and you can tell in his voice he's just exhausted. He's so tired about seeing these players keep dropping, especially the defenders. He must be scratching his head thinking, what on earth am I going to do against Sunderland? And I do feel sorry for him, because it's not his fault if the players keep getting injured. Or is it his fault? Are we overtraining these players? Are these players doing their recoveries? Look, I don't want to accuse people of stuff, but I do want to ask the question, What is going on in terms of our defenders? It can't just be bad luck. I would love to see like some sort of stat that tells me how many centre halves have been injured since the start of this season, and just to see how we compare to them. Are we above average? Are we average? Are we the only club going through this? It happened last year, and it was one of the major reasons why we got relegated from the Premier League. I don't want it to be another reason why we can't achieve something special this year. That's what I'm praying it doesn't happen. So look, we've got to sort this out. Whether we change something, where we recruit new medical staff, I'm not too sure. Or we simply have to sign another centre half in January just to cover all these players keep getting injured at the back. We've got to do something. We can't just hope and pray it gets better, because I don't think it will do, because this keeps happening. I don't want to end the video on a negative note, but it is frustrating, you have to admit. But yeah, those are my thoughts. My 5 things which I believe we learned from the game against Watford. Let me know a few things which you believe you learnt from the game. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Drop a like, as I've said at the start. And yeah guys, I'll see you in the next video, which I don't know when it will be, but probably a match preview against Sunderland. I'm looking forward to it.